Just asking your client, what do you feed your dog, isn't enough. It's not going to work. They're going to tell you what they remember feeding, what they think about feeding, what they put in the bowl every day. But they're probably not going to tell you about all of the treats. They're probably not going to tell you about the cat food that the dog gets into every time they leave the laundry room door open. They're probably not going to tell you about the treats the neighbor gives or the 3 tablespoons of peanut butter that they use to give medications. So you have to kind of ask those questions in different ways in order to get a full picture of what the dog's actually eating. If this is a cat and it's an outdoor cat, they may be hunting, or they may be eating next door at the neighbor's. If there's ever any unattended food, like food left out for cats or dropped by toddlers and that sort of thing. And if they're receiving any supplements as well. Things like fish oil, for example, is a supplement, but it's also pretty energy dense. And sometimes we can see our clients adding a lot of it. Related to the owner, the name and what they do for a living was kind of just for fun. But it also relates to how much time they have at home to supervise the dog. So if there's somebody who's never home, that tells us how much about their ability to exercise their pet. But it may also tell us what their ability to observe their pet is and report what's going on with their pet. What other people are in the house, whether there's kids, because that relates to both exercise and food intake. Other pets, whether they have exposure to yard or park, or what the owner's food preferences are. That's important because if they have strong feelings about certain philosophies, that may limit what diets you can prescribe to that pet. Lastly, and possibly most importantly, is what amount of food are they actually feeding. Helpful also to ask, how are they measuring it? Sometimes if the client is reporting, this has actually happened to me before, where I had a client reporting that they were feeding 2 cups of food twice a day. This is to a German Shepherd in appropriate body condition who had a complaint of large stool volume. Well, that doesn't make sense, right? 2 cups of most any food twice a day would not be, or a cup twice a day would not be enough to maintain a German Shepherd in appropriate body condition, let alone produce an extra large stool volume. Except that the owner was referring to big gulp cups and not measuring cups. So sometimes that's important to ask. Once you've collected that data, you can come down to these questions. And it comes down to, is the diet appropriate and is the amount appropriate? And in the case of an obesity diet or an obese patient, the diet may be appropriate. It may not be. But if you're dealing with obesity, the answer here is obvious, right? The intake exceeds the energy expenditure, so the amount being fed is not appropriate. And you know that.